Hello and welcome back to Super Northwest. Today I'm on a mission. I'm going to do a solo camping trip to North Wales. So I've got myself a little micro camper, full tank of juice. I don't even know where I'm going to go yet. I'm just going to point out on the map somewhere because I know quite a few places in Wales. I know it quite well, being on the motorbikes and stuff like that. So I'm just going to put my finger on the map and go, we're going to go there, pitch up for the night and try and discover some of the history, mainly like the industrial history of North Wales and Wales in general. It's got mining and stuff like that, you know, there's great waterworks and all this sort of stuff. So I can't wait for that. So let's go and take a look. So I've decided to take the coast road into Wales. There's a lot of places of interest. The first one here, I'm in Deeside at the moment, which just as you get into North Wales. Now there's a massive solar farm, and I remember working on this a while back when it was being built. I came here to do a job, but this is what it looks like today when it's finished. So it stretches all the way down there. Look at that. I wonder how much power that actually generates. So it's brighter green engineering. I probably shouldn't be here, but I'm just live life on the edge, you know. Look at that. Stretches for miles, that. So just coming up is the Flintshire Bridge. I call it the Connors Quay Bridge because it's by Connors Quay Power Station. This was built in 1994 at a cost of 55 million quid. Now it's just at the southern end of the Wirral Peninsula and it crosses over the River Dee. I've just come across this old lifeboat. It's been dumped in a stream. So if anyone knows what ship this is off, let me know. It might be off the ship I'm about to take a look at, the Duke of Lancaster. But I wonder if that's seen any action there. So this ship we're going to take a look at now was an old steam turbine ship. It's called the Duke of Lancaster. Now it was built in 1955 and it was used as a ferry service on the Heysham to Belfast route up until the late 70s, around about 1978, when it was taken up to Barrow. Then it was brought down here and beached deliberately, and it was going to be turned into a fun ship. And it lasted a while, but the locals didn't really like it, so there was a big court battle, and then it sadly got disused. Now I'm not sure who it's owned by. I believe the owner doesn't like people taking a look, so I won't get too close, but I'll try and show you it. Now earlier on in its life, I believe this was run by British Railways, and it was at some point converted into a car ferry so that you could get a couple of cars on the deck. But as soon as main car ferries started coming into being, its days were numbered. Well, let's go and see what other gems we can find in this glorious country. So the next port of call, it's got to be a brew. So at the side of the road here, there's a nod to the old mining community at Point of Air Colliery. It's number 2 headgear. Now this was used as a ventilation shaft. It was also used as an escape route, and it used to vent pockets of gas, dangerous gases. Now when this headgear was cut off, it was taken to a place in Greenfield and it was put into storage. And then in 2015, the locals realised that they had enough money to actually restore it and plant it here at the side of the road as a memorial to the coal mining industry of North Wales. And there you can see we've got the British and the Welsh flags flying proudly in the wind. So on the information here you can just see number 2 headgear. Now all along the Welsh coast you'll find wind turbines, which is evidence of what's replaced the coal industry in the UK. Now these generate a small amount of power for our great country. So I finally made my mind up where I'm going to go, and I'm going to end up in Anglesey unless I see something else. Now it's cracking on a bit, so it's about time I went and found somewhere to stay for the night. Well, I've managed to find myself a hook up for the night. 20 quid, it's not bad that, is it? Nice, right on the coast. And there's me set up there. So if you want to take a ferry to Dublin in Ireland, this is where you would turn up to get the boat over to Ireland. Looks like there's a big crane ship docked in at the moment. It's got 4 posts all around each corner, and on the side of the posts it looks like there's teeth on them. So I'm not sure, but I'm sure they're outriggers, and they go down into the seabed to steady the ship when it's lifting something out of the water. Now everywhere you're looking at towns and cities of Wales, you've got Indian takeaways and lovely pubs and stuff like that. And I honestly thought that's all that this place would be. I thought it's just a sea ferry port with a couple of shops. Every other shop's a takeaway or a pub, and the same as any old little town. But I was wrong. So in the mid-1800s, it was decided that the port of Holyhead needed to get bigger because more ships were coming in. The ships also needed protection. Now, the harbour master at the time decided it needed to be expanded, and he wrote to Parliament and they passed a motion to say that they could extend it. Now, it was decided that the harbour wall, the breakwater, that was to be extended. It was extended to 1.5 miles. And that's what you see today with the lighthouse at the end of it. Now this was built using stones from the quarry, and they constructed these A-pillars, these wooden A-pillars, where the wagons would run over and deposit the rocks to build the breakwater. And over 50 men were killed doing this. That's the length of it there, with the lighthouse at the end. And then the A-frames I'm talking about, these were constructed so the wagons could run over, and then basically they deposit the rocks and then to gradually build up the wall. And then there's a picture of the wagons getting pulled by steam train all the way to where they want to get to. So this is fascinating. It says many lost their lives building the breakwater in 1851. William Thomas, aged 26, was killed when part of the staging collapsed and a wagon fell on him. Oh my Dear Lord, that's bad. So here's an example of health and safety back in the day. You've got, I don't know what this does, but that's your brake for the gears. So you obviously pulled on that lever that locks the gears on in place. I bet there was no emergency stop button. It probably didn't even have a guard around it, that. And here's a beautiful mosaic along the wall. So it depicts obviously the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and then you got like the Industrial Age and the Industrial Revolution, and then modern day. This is a place now where people can come with their families and enjoy the day. Very nice. Now, I'm not sure whether that's modern in the last 100 years or so. Well, it looks pretty ancient, but it wouldn't have double glazed windows in it, would it? Unless that's an extra. I believe this place was called Soldiers Point Hotel. It was shut down quite a few years ago and it had a bad fire. Now it's just a shell. But it's worth taking a look. I'm going to see if I can try and get in. A brief background to this place. So originally it was called Soldiers Point House, and it was built in the mid-19th century. It was a naval residence, then it became a home to a media magnate, Sir Arthur Pearson. Now, he was the founder of the Daily Express newspaper. Now, the building later became a hotel, and after a number of years it closed. Whilst being left redundant, it was vandalised, and unfortunately it was set on fire, which is the state you see it in today. Well, I mean, but it wasn't hard, to be honest. It's just a bit of a wall to get over. I wonder if I can get in this way. Let's see what's up here. No, it's pretty small to get through there. So back in the day, from this hotel, that was probably one of the views that you had. And earlier when I was talking about the break wall, you can see where it goes right the way along towards the lighthouse. I'll tell you what, the things I do for you guys, I hope this is worth it. Oh, it's getting clearer now anyway. Right, so this must be the entrance to it. It's looking good. I really did need a machete. Yeah, I'm going to get crunched, but here goes. That wasn't too bad. Right, so this was pretty clear, the front of it. Now at first I thought this was a bit of a castle, but it's quite modern really. So there was a big fire here, and then it was listed in the mid-90s. And this is round the front of it. So it would have been quite stunning in its day, this, with the grand entrance, where all the rich people would come in and they'd pull up here on the rich coach and horses, gold-plated wheels, and super lush interior. You knew you were winning at life when you actually pulled up in a horse and carriage at one of these gaffs. Look at it, would have been stunning, that. Beautiful. Ah, it's a bit of a hole to get in. Right, I'm going in. Look at that. Is this original? I should imagine it would be. It looks like it's off an old fireplace or an archway or something. You don't make things like that anymore. And there's the second floor there, as you can see. This was probably a stairway. So it just shows you how small it was inside. Right, so this would have been the main entrance bit. I found it old to get inside, but if you just look there, zoom in on that, that probably had statues in it, or there's more of them, look. So you can imagine they had like porcelain cherubs and things like that in those archways. And just up there there's an old fireplace. So on the second floor would have been an old fireplace. There's weeds growing in it now. And you can see it's like where the fire has took its toll, it's melted all the pipes. They must have been roasting hot then. So just before I leave Holyhead, it's an amazing place this, there's lots to see here. It's not just a shipping port. There's like a monument on top of this hill, and it's dedicated to a man called John McGregor Skinner. He fought in the American Civil War. He fought on the royalist side and stuff like that. Anyway, he fought on the losing side, and when it became the United States, he fled to Bristol with his dad. Now, he carried on in the Merchant Navy, and he became a captain of the mail packet ships. And then in 1799 he's made the head of this, but he's also known for helping poor people. So in Holyhead today they've erected this monument to him. Now, when he fought on the losing side in the American Civil War, he sustained a serious injury, and he had his arm cut off right up to the elbow. That must have stung a bit, but brave man. It doesn't look like many people come up here now. It's got like two ships sticking either side, which is a nod to his maritime history. From the monument, this is the view you're getting of the whole port. Look at that, that's amazing. And as you can see, all the wagons coming in. I'd probably need 3 days to discover this place. There's the railway station down below. And just in the distance there, you see the two ferries. So I was just making my way back down there, and there's a broken fence. I thought I'll take a little look in there. There's like some kind of fort or gun emplacement. Let's check this out. So yeah, you can imagine the invading Nazi army coming in via the sea, and then they come in, try and take this port, and before you know, you got all guns blazing. Let's have a little look inside. Oh aye. Just looks like a drug den at the moment, mate, but you can imagine anyone who passed that would have just been blown to bits, machine gun fire. But as we all know, the Nazis didn't get that far. But what a place to protect the island. Now there's quite a lot of these little gun emplacements as well, scattered around the place, because it was well defended in the war, this place. So the port of Holyhead, that's run by the Stena Line shipping company, and they've managed it for quite a few years. Now there's 2 million people pass through the port each year, to and from Ireland. So it's day 3 and I've managed to land myself in Festiniog. I've found myself a cracking little campsite. I've booked it for 2 nights, and the reason is I've booked it for 2 nights is because I'm going on the Festiniog Railway. Now this is one of the greatest little narrow gauge railways in the world. Now I've booked myself first class. I normally never do that, I always end up in the cheap seats, mate. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. So I've booked like a Pullman coach, first class. Now everywhere you look in Wales there's rugby posts, because they're mad for rugby. So if you've ever thought of doing Welsh as a language, you don't have to go to university, because you've only got to come here. They teach you it for free. So if you look, Canal Idref, which is town centre. So there you go, that's a free Welsh lesson for you. Now throughout Wales you'll find old petrol stations which are disused, but some of them have got the old petrol pumps in. Now I'm sure I filled up petrol here many years ago on my motorbike, but there's the old pump. Look at that. You don't see many of them now. Now that's quite a modern one because it would have been digital, but back in the day it would have had the old analogue clocks on it. But there's all the pump gear there, look. All the valves and pipes and stuff. They don't make them anymore. I checked the prices out, see what it would have been. So jet shampoo, rinse, wax rinse, £2. Then it goes up to £2.50, £3.50, £4, £1.50. £1.50 to get your car vacuumed. Absolutely brilliant. Obviously you probably would have had to do it yourself for that. That's amazing. Let's have a little look before I get shouted at. Oh, and there's the old counter there, look. If you can just make that out through the window. Imagine how many people have filled up at this station. Back in the day, if you were a local or a tourist, you would have brought your car here to get it serviced, new tyres put on, all your oil and water checked. Brilliant. So the main reason this railway was built, because up in the hills there was the slate mines dug into the mountainside. When the slates were finished, they'd be put onto a wagon. Now these wagons could carry up to 2 tonne, and then it'd come down the mountain, dragged by a cable. It'd end up in Festiniog, in Blanau, and then it would be taken by train all the way to Portmaddock, which is where we're going today, on this little beauty over here. So I've just checked in, seat number 13 I'm looking for. The coach down there that I'm on looks very posh indeed. Right, so here we go. There's this first one attached to the engine. There we go. Oh, very nice. So I've got my seat, nice and comfortable, a nice view out the window. Open the old window there, get a bit of fresh air in. Driver's just stoking the boiler up now. I think we're getting ready to go. Festiniog Railway began life in 1832 and it was originally run by shareholders. Then after the war kind of came into like disused, a gang of volunteers took over. But in the 50s the British Electric Company, they wanted to build a hydroelectric plant to produce electricity for the region, but then this meant that part of the line would be flooded. Now the government went ahead with this because they just thought the people who run the railway, they're just a gang of volunteers and amateurs. So the electricity company, they just cracked on and flooded the railway. Now, this closed off parts of the railway, and the volunteers took upon themselves many years later to build like an inclination which took the railway past the reservoir. This then opened another major section of the railway, but it still wasn't complete. And then in the early 80s, with negotiations with British Rail and the government, it was basically completed, and it was given the go-ahead to have a main railway station in the town of Festiniog alongside the Festiniog Railway. So the engine pulling this train is 160 years old. Now, the driver was telling me it's about 2 years overdue an overhaul. And he said, you might hear a few knocks and bangs now and again, because all the bushes are worn on it and stuff like that. It doesn't fill me with confidence, but it's an old workhorse. It's going to go and go and go, that thing. It's lasted all these years anyway, hasn't it? Well, he's just cranked it up for this big hill. So we're coming in on the approach to Porthmadog. I love the smell of that sea air. Well, that was very nice, very luxurious as well. So I'm well impressed with that. 62 quid it cost. So that's a return journey. Now I've got a couple of hours here. I've got to be back here for 3:25. But we're going to go and explore Porthmadog now. So along that line, the slate would be brought right into the town, right into Porthmadog, down to these docks, and it would be transferred onto ships. Now there's so many nice old cars when you come to places like this. Let me just quickly show you this. because I've not got a lot of time in Porthmadog, I've got to stay close to the train station, so to kill a bit of time, I tried out one of the local bakeries, and I've gone for sausage Rolls Royce. Look at that bad boy there. I'm going to tuck into that, head back and get the train back. So I've enjoyed my little trip to Porthmadog. I've seriously got to get out of here though, because it's wall to wall ice cream parlours and chippies, and I'm watching me figure. Yeah, right. So anyway, I'm going to head back now to the train station. Tomorrow I'm off to find out where the water for the big city of Liverpool comes from. I'm going to a place called Lake Vyrnwy, so I'll see you there. So I'm up bright and early. I'm on my way now to Lake Vyrnwy. It's going to take about an hour getting there. The weather's turned a little bit on me. Hopefully I can get the drone up above the lake and show you this amazing building, which looks like something out of Disneyland. But I'll explain when we get there. So on my way to Lake Vyrnwy, I come across this memorial, and I just had to check it out. So we've got the Irish flag and the Welsh flag, which symbolises the two nations coming together. So this memorial behind me is in memory of the Galway men who were part of the Easter Rising in Dublin. And this was basically a mad protest towards British rule and British government and all the imperialistic ways of the British. There was 1,800 prisoners which were brought here. Most of them were put over in the south camp, but this is the north camp, and this very field here had wooden nuts on it. Now it only lasted for 6 months. A lot of them went off to do their own thing. A lot of them stayed in politics and things like that, joined other factions, but this is in memory to them, and it's a fitting tribute to them at the side of the road of the suffering that they went through. So let's just check these beautiful plaques out. This no doubt is proper Welsh slate, and it says in memory of the Galway men interned in Frongoch 1916. Beautiful that. And then the other one on the other side says 1,800 Irishmen were interned here after the Easter Rising, Dublin 1916. So it was a bit of a do that. And someone's painted a nice stone in the Irish colours. And on this stone here it says, show the love. Behind me is Lake Vyrnwy. It just looks like any other lake, but it's not. Because underneath that lot, there's an old village. And the people in the village were kicked out by the Liverpool Corporation to build this waterworks, which goes through this strainer, and it goes 70 miles back to Liverpool to supply its drinking water. Now it was built in the 1880s. So this tower here, this looks like something out of Disneyland. Now you'd think a fairy princess captured in the tower and a knight in shining armour comes along and rescues her. No, sadly not. This is a straining tower, and it strains the water and puts it into a pipeline, and it sends it 70 miles back to Liverpool. Let's go and have a closer look before I get kicked off. Looks like a castle, doesn't it? Now in the distance there you can see the Vernwy Hotel. Now behind me is the Great Dam, and can you imagine the amount of work that went into this, building it, all the men it took, where did they live? And look at it, the engineering and the clever design of it as well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our little journey around Wales together. So until next time, catch you later.